All right, today we're going to talk about thoracic mobility and how it relates to hand position when you squat. We've actually got two good examples here because they have kind of different upper back postures. Really one of the things that we see folks encounter when they do back squat setups, whether it's for single leg work or actual squatting, is they'll often have irritation in the front of their shoulder or on the inside of their elbows. And one of the reasons that happens is because people will often come too narrow for what their flexibility allows. So what will often happen is when the hands are in really narrow, the elbows will come back and the humeral head, so the ball likes to ride forward in the socket and irritate the biceps tendon, the nerves in the front of the shoulder, as well as your anterior capsule. Likewise, you get what's called valgus stress if you don't have the upper back mobility to get where you need to be. So you'll crank on that elbow in order to get your arms back to the position you need to be in. So why these guys are good examples, they're in the middle of a training session here, so they're a little bit warmed up, so it might even be better than it normally would be. Ryan, if you look at his upper back, he has kind of a normal thoracic curve. He might even be slightly flexed past what we want to, and he's a guy who always needs to work on a lot of thoracic extension work to get where he needs to be. Okay, so for him, we'll see what it looks in a second, but Connor's a totally different story. If you see Connor, you can actually see you can kind of almost get your hands in underneath the scaps, and it's not because his shoulder blades sit in a bad position, it's because he has a very flat thoracic spine and it doesn't really use the rib cage to almost fill up that space in the back here. So what we're going to notice is if you watch Connor set right up on the bar, okay, if we come right up to the side position here, as he dips underneath here, watch him, he can creep his hands even closer than that. And if you come up to the side angle, notice where his elbows are relative to his body. Even with a neutral core positioning, he can basically do a squat without his elbows diving really far behind his body, okay? So let's have Ryan come and do the same thing. So thoracic extension helps Connor be successful there. You look at Ryan with a little bit more of a flex position on his upper back, it's a lot harder for him to get there. The elbows are further behind the body, and just to make things a little bit more exaggerated, have him move his hands in just a little bit, okay? And just see how it goes. Okay, so you'll notice the elbows come back even more, and I'd imagine that's not particularly comfortable for him either. So a guy like Ryan, when he goes there, he's going to crank on his elbows, he might irritate the front of his shoulder, he'll also kind of shoot into a forward head posture and get into kind of a bad positioning during that squat pattern. So the moral of the story is take away that you need to have good thoracic extension if you're going to part a bar on your back. And if you don't, you need to use a safety squat bar, you need to do a front squat grip, whatever it may be, to maintain a training effect while you work on that. But if you have plenty of thoracic mobility, by all means, back squat away, and you should be able to get your hands in really close. If you don't, you might need to bring your hands out a little bit wider for a while just to make it more comfortable.